Part 2. Electric Boogaloo times 2. I had to stop the first part because, well, me and my family were going to something. Now, where were we? Manda used quite a few tricks, like spitting fire, biting, and the most irritating of all, constricting. It doesn't mer- mercilessly drain your life down like Gigan's cutter, but it was by far Manda's strongest attack. Sorry. One last thing to note that I found pretty cool was that the Achigon showed up during the fight to help me out. Manda crushed it with these, but it was still cool. After I slayed Manda, I was going through an Arctic level for health and power-ups, and then it was on to Gigan's replacement. When the fight started, I was very confused because there was nothing there. I thought this was gonna be like the Titanosaurus fight in Pathos, but just about the time it would have been going back to the map, a piranhas appeared on screen, but it wasn't there for long. As soon as it appeared, the speakers emitted an ear-splitting screech, and not Gigan flew in and ripped the poor fish to pieces. That is one ugly son of a gun. Well, that's one way to get the player on their toes. That abrupt entrance scared the heck out of me and got my adrenaline rushing, which in retrospect was a good thing, because Not Gigan was one of the fastest, most unrelenting opponents in the game. Not Gigan was tough, but my new skills with Anguirus helped to even the score. This was an incredibly intense fight. Not Gigan's attacks consisted of some kind of blood laser he spews from his mouth, and a downward slash. I was expecting some hellish variant of the buzzsaw attack, but thankfully there didn't seem to be one. The howl attack was invaluable in defeating him. I would have taken more screen caps of the fight, but I really had to concentrate. After that, there was just one monster left to take down: Space Godzilla. As mentioned earlier, I used Godzilla for this fight. Space Godzilla's fighting technique was rather frustrating, but admittedly a very clever idea. Space Godzilla would use his energy to create two flying crystals, which would reach the ground and become crystal spires. These spires not only block you from reaching Space Godzilla, but also allowed him to constantly recharge to full energy and blast you with a deadly fully charged Corona beam until you broke the spires. Space Godzilla would eventually drain his own spires of energy until they showered. But if you waited for that to happen, you'd probably lose a lot of life. Heat beams actually seemed to re-energize the spires, so you had to use physical attacks.